All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Designing the New Dragons. Join me as we create what may be your new favorite character. So today, it has taken entirely too long for me to get through this series. Health and brain not working and tons of stuff has been going on. I'm finally getting to the final character creation for 13th Age. I'm sorry it has taken so long. But I mentioned when I first started doing 13th Age that the biggest problem with the core book is there's no monk. And I got to be a monk. And they created a supplement called 13 True Ways that has a monk. It's a lot more complicated than the base core class, so I didn't want to do it first. We are finally going to make a monk. I'm excited about this. The monk, it took me probably about half a dozen times of reading over the class to really get to the point where I understood how the monk worked in 13th Age. But now that I understand it, I am 100% just pumped for the monk. I think it's super cool and interesting. As we have done many times before, let's hop into this and get this character created. So before we can create the character, we need character sheet. Yes. Again, I actually really like the 13th Age character sheet. I think, or the form fillable character sheet that you can get with it. I think it's really nice. And of course, we're going to make a monk, but that's not the first choice we're technically supposed to make. We are going to be following the character creation checklist in the core guide just to make sure that I do all the stuff. It has been well over a month since I have built a 13th Age character, so I need that little bit of refresher so I remember what I'm doing. So, that being said, let's start off. First thing that you do, and I have to close all of these bookmarks. My word, is this annoying as hell. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we choose our race. Thus far, we have made a punchy paladin who was an elf. We have made a robot, which I really enjoyed. And now we need to figure out what we're going to do for our monk. The kind of standard monk that I'm used to playing was technically a high elf monk that eventually turned into a wood elf monk due to a reincarnation ritual after they were thrown off a cliff by a yeti and insta-died after a 200-foot drop, being paralyzed. It's the first time I had a character die. But we had a druid in the party that cast reincarnation because we didn't have any other resurrection spells, and it got reincarnated in Wood Elf. So, that being said, let's figure out what we actually want to do. I could always go human, because human generally just really simple and easy to be able to do. And they have the quick to fight racial power, which basically means on initiative you get to roll twice. My monk character, my shadow monk in D&D 5th edition, one of, I want to say maybe the third or fourth adventure I ever ran with that particular character. It was in the Adventures League, and the magic item that we found was a Trident of Warning. Nobody in the party used tridents at all and really didn't care about it, so I just took that particular item because I was like, well, Weapon of Warning sounds pretty cool. I can't actually use tridents as a monk, but I'll go ahead and do it. And I found out just how incredibly useful advantage on initiative is. So quick to fight is effectively Not just advantage to initiative. The thing that makes it really interesting is at the start of each battle, roll initiative twice and choose the result you want. So not only do you get to roll your dice twice, you actually get to choose which one you want to use. So, if you want to go first, which a lot of times, at least for the characters I played, being a monk and going first was generally a good thing because of stunning strike and stuff like that. However, there can be situations where you want to go later, and this actually gives you both options. Now, obviously, if you roll like a 19 and a 20, you're probably going first. But so that could make for a pretty interesting. And human monks are, I mean, traditional. Like, you can totally make a human monk, so we might go that route. Dwarven monks, I have seen dwarven monks in certain things, and they always, to me, like, I just like the idea of this very small, compact, muscle-bound creature that just goes up and punches people. Like, I really like that, and I think it's cool. Half-orcs, I've never been a fan of half-orcs. Oh, and then the dwarves, the racial power. Oh, that's your best shot. Once per battle is a free action. After you've been hit by an enemy attack, you can heal using recovery. So that one's kind of cool. They basically get a free heal. Half-orcs basically get to, once per battle, reroll a melee attack and use the roll you prefer as the result. That's kind of cool. Then we have various elves. We have dark elves, high elves, and wood elves. We already know, like, high elves get the teleport, which I'm roll. Teleporting monks is super fun. Like, there really isn't a downside to a teleporting monk. Dark elves get cruel as their racial power. Which is interesting. It basically lets them just give deal ongoing damage if you hit with a natural even, which is cool. And then wood elves just get extra actions, which could be, for a monk, with how the monk works, that could be just crazy useful. So yeah, maybe we'll look into that. I want to see the other ones. Gnomes, I'm not really into gnomes. Half elves. Half elves, their racial ability, you can subtract 1 from the natural result of one of your own d20 rolls. Basically, what that does, and I think I've mentioned this before. In 13th Age, there are certain abilities that happen when you roll, when your d20 roll is odd or even. And so with surprising, it basically allows you to switch from an even to an odd, or an odd to an even. So it gives you that extra it gives that extra flexibility of, if I want to do something that requires either an even or an odd roll. Now, I do not remember if monks use that particular mechanic a lot, so half elf is not doing it for me. Halflings, again, tiny person punching people is funny. And they have evasive, which is once per battle, force an enemy that hits you with an attack to re-roll the attack with a -2 penalty. So that could be very, very useful. Just avoiding getting punched in the face. And then we have Draconic. So Dragon Monk could be very, very fun. Or Asmar. Could also be very fun. Then Forgeborn, we've done that. And then Tiefling, Devil. That could be fun as well. So what are we thinking? I think Dragon Monk could be a lot of fun. Either Dragon Monk or Wood Elf. I think I'm going to go with the Dragon Monk. So we're going to start race-wise. We're going to go here. We're going to go tonic. Oh, and we're level 1. And so what that gives, it does give us racial power of breath, weapon. And then, again, I just like to put page, what is it, 71. So I know where to look it up, so I don't have to have the whole thing listed here, which is perfectly fine. And then the other thing is I get either +2, what is it, strength or charisma. And this just lets me know here, I'll delete this later, this just lets me know that I'm going to be using that somewhere in here. So we've got that, we've chosen our race, super easy, super quick, and I believe, yeah, that's really all I have to do. So, moving on. Next, we get to choose our class, and again, that means that I'm going over to the 13 True Ways and looking at the monk. Now, again, the monk is really interesting due to the fact, fact that the way that they interact in with literally everything is they don't use technically weapon attacks. What they use is they have these, what are they called, forms. And so when they make attacks, they have an opening form, or an opening attack, a flow attack, and a finishing attack. And each one of them will list a different kind of damage, a jab, a punch, or a kick damage. Jabs do a d6 of damage, punches do a d8 of damage, kicks do a d10 of damage. And so the thing about playing a monk in 13th Age is you have to get really get comfortable with understanding the different opening flow and finishing attacks, and how that's going to kind of change how you're interacting with everyone else. And that was one of the reasons why being the Wood Elf would have been so useful, is being able to do an opening and a flow attack in the same turn means that you can get to the finishing attack that much faster. And each time you go to the next step, you generally get to do a little more damage and get to do more interesting things. So, yeah. So I guess we're going to start off with class feature stuff. So we talked about that. We talked about forms. What do we do? So we'll do with hit points and everything later. Class talents. I get. Let's look at this. Key to weapon fighting braces is. I choose 3 of the following adventure tier class talents. Oh, okay. So monks also have stuff where they have these things called 7 deadly secrets, where they are talents. You get to pick. Oh, there it goes. So level 1, I get 3 class talents, and there are these things called 7 deadly secrets, which are these talents that you can only take one of them at any given time. So, right? Is that how it works? So, you're free to take as many, right? But you can only use one per battle. Oh, never mind. So, you can take as many 7 deadly secrets talents as you want. You can only use one per battle. And in this, they have 3 different 7 deadly secrets. So you have Flurry, which is a kind of standard monk thing, which is basically you gain the following attack: melee attack, quick action at will once per round when the escalation die is 3+. So when your escalation die is either a 3 or higher, you can make this additional attack as a quick action, which is nice. And then a lot of them also come with a key power, which is another thing that you get as a monk. How do I do key? Each monk talent provides a key power. You don't have to take additional feat damage. Spending key is a free action, but there are many other actions of the key power that require respective actions. Cool. So the amount of key that I get is 1 plus my wisdom modifier. We'll figure that out later. All right, so flurry of blows. You get an extra thing, and then your key power. If you're engaged with 2 or more enemies after making a flurry attack, you can burn a key to make another flurry attack. But you have to do it against a different person, which is actually really similar to the drunken monk in 5e. They have something similar to that. So cool. So that's flurry. Always interested in extra attacks. Greeting fist. First time you make a melee attack against an enemy during a battle, including the first mook of a mob, the target takes an extra d8 damage on hit, and that just gets higher and higher. And then the key power, when you deal Greeting Fist damage, you can spend a key point to double the damage. So basically, Greeting Fist is the first time you hit a creature, you get extra damage, which is really nice. When you get all the way up to a 10th level monk, you do 6d12 extra damage, which is nuts. It means that this is the first time you hit each enemy. So every time you hit a single enemy, you're going to be doing this extra damage. So kind of like a sneak attack kind of thing that you could only do once, but it gets deadly real quick. So I kind of like that. And then the other one is Temple Weapon Mastery, is the final 7 deadly sin. Once per battle, when you're fighting with a weapon or weapons associated with your monastic tradition, you can turn a natural even miss into a hit. And the key power, when you use your Temple Weapon Master power, you can spend 1 key to get a bonus AC, which is nice. So, Temple Weapon Master basically means if I don't want to be an unarmed monk, this lets me basically turn an even miss into a hit, which is nice. But I'm thinking, I like Greeting Fist. And I definitely want to take at least one of the 7 deadly secrets. You actually don't have to take any of them as your talents, but I want one because they're cool. So I think instead of Flurry, which is real traditional monk stuff, like Flurry of Blows has been part of the monk kit since it was first introduced in like advanced. I think it might have been in a basic. So Flurry of Blows is a big deal, but Greeting Fist just sounds so much fun. So I think talent, we're going to go Greeting Fist. 7. So no, and then that's page 70. So I like that. And now we need 2 more talents. So we have Diamond Focus. Get a bonus to save so you're not staggered. Okay. So that's basically it helps with your saving throws, which is useful, but not quite what I'm looking for. Heaven's Arrows. So Heaven's Arrows basically just makes it so you can do range stuff. So this one's interesting. So most of the forms have you doing melee attacks, and if you take Heaven's Arrow, you can replace, once per battle, you can replace a melee attack with a ranged attack. So if you wanted to be a kind of ranged monk, Heaven's Arrow would definitely help with that. And then the key point, you can burn a key point to regain your Heaven's Arrow power when it's suspended. Basically, you can burn a key point so that you can continue just being a ranged monk effectively. So if I wanted to create kind of my card throwing style character that I like building, I could definitely do it with Heaven's Arrow. I just have to burn key points on a fairly regular basis, or look for forms that allow me to make ranged attacks. So I might do that because, again, I love making me my weird throwing weapon based characters. Leaf on the Wind. Once per battle, when you use a move action, you can take another move action as a free action. In addition, if you fall with a wall, tree, or other physical object next to you, you can fall up to 30 feet per level without taking damage. So basically, this is another thing that's just crazy, crazy useful as a monk. In D&D in general, monks have this kind of slow fall ability where they can just get soft landings everywhere. Leaf on the Wind makes you hypermobile, which is nice. But if you want that kind of soft fall or slow fall kind of thing, you have to be next to something that you can kind of slow yourself down on, which is nice. I don't think it really ruins the idea of the monk too much to just have to be near a wall to not that. And then the key power, you can burn a key point during your turn to gain flight until the end of your turn. So you turn into a flying monk. So that would be very cool. I'm definitely thinking about Leaf on the Wind. Because flight is fun. See what else we have. Overworld Lineage, aka Phoenix Touched. This is interesting. So if you wish, anytime an element of the monk class refers to wisdom, you can replace that element with reference to charisma. You can skip this aspect of the talent if you choose. In addition, when you're staggered, when you roll a natural even attack roll, you heal damage equal to your strength mod or your wisdom mod. So basically, Phoenix Touch allows you to use charisma in place of wisdom, which being a dragonborn, they can get a bonus to charisma, so that could be interesting, and that would mean my key would be based on my wisdom instead of my charisma instead of my wisdom, which is kind of cool. And then once per day, when you're staggered, you could spend a point of key to heal using recovery. You heal half the hit points you roll for recovery. When it engages your choice, takes the other half in fire damage. That's really cool. So not only can you heal, but you can heal and kind of explode in fire, which could do interesting. That could be fun. One other talent we can look at. Spinning Willow Strike. When a ranged attack or close quartered attack that targets AC hits you, you can roll a normal save. Excuse me. If you succeed, you only take half damage from the attack. So that's basically catching arrows and stuff like that. So I think it would be fun to go Phoenix Touched, simply because that allows me to use charisma instead of wisdom, and I can do cool stuff key power wise. And then do I want Spinning Willow style or Leaf on the Wind? I think I'm going to stick with Leaf on the Wind because I'm going to look at the forms because I want to see if they have ranged forms that I'm interested in. So Claw of the Panther is one of the forms. Dance of Mantis, another melee. Melee. So all of the forms are all based on melee attacks. So if I was to take Heaven's Arrow, you have no attack ability with once per battle, when you make a melee attack as an element of one of your monk forms, you can use a ranged attack against a nearby enemy instead. So that's still pretty limited because it doesn't really make you a full ranged monk, which is what I would like, because it would still mean that I have to get into melee except for once per turn. So I think I'm going to avoid the Heaven's Arrow, and I'm going to go Leaf on the Wind. that. 71. And then page 72. Just so I have a place to kind of look them up. So we got that. And then for our forms, I get 2 adventure forms. So, again, forms are basically a collection of 3 attacks that all do stuff. So, like, Claws of the Panther is the first form. And so the 3 attacks that are built into it, the opening attack is called Panther Spins Free, which is a melee attack. The attack is Dex plus level versus AC. And then hit is jab plus strength to the damage. And you can pop free from the target. And pop free is basically kind of similar to a disengage. It's not exactly that, but... And then the second one, again, melee, dex plus level versus AC. It does punch plus strength damage, and then on a natural even hit, plus each enemy engaged with you takes a d6 of damage. It just does extra damage. And then the finishing attack, called Twinned Panther Claw, does a kick plus strength to the damage. So it just basically, the first attack allows you to pop 3, the second attack allows you to do extra damage to people around you, and the third attack is just a more damaging attack. And then they have a key power. If I get it, you can burn a key point when your finishing attack misses all targets. That's the other thing, is the finishing attack can target up to 2 enemies. So, yeah, the other 2 are 1 enemy, the finishing attack is 2 enemies. So it's kind of a multi-target focus thing. That makes sense. Dance of the Mantis is the next one. And this one's interesting. So, the opening attack, when you start your turn unengaged, you can move before the attack as part of the standard action for this attack. So it adds some movement as long as you're unengaged, which is nice. And then the flow attack basically does extra damage on bigger targets. And on a natural even hit, you can roll a disengage check as a free action after the attack. I want to check something real quick. Index and glossary. I want P for pop out. Okay, it didn't actually tell me. Oh, because I'm in the wrong damn book. That would be why. Looking at the index of 13 true ways, I want to go here. So P. Pop free. When you pop free from an enemy, you are no longer engaged with them. Unlike disengage actions, this isn't an action, it's a change in your situation. When you pop an enemy free of you, they're no longer engaged with you. Okay, so it basically means that they won't get opportunity attacks. Is basically what it is, which is what I thought it was. Trying to go back up. Okay, do that in a second. So yeah, so that's how pop free works. Go back to the monk. So going back here, so Dance the Mantis is a hypermobility kind of the thing. It lets you, basically when you're not fighting someone, you start with an opening attack. It gives you an extra move effectively. The flow attack allows you to roll a disengage check, and then the finishing attack, it's really easy, interesting. So on a natural even miss, your crit range with opening, flow, and finishing attack expands by 1 until the end of battle. So basically, Instead of having to roll a nat 20, it now turns into a nat 19 and stuff like that. And then the adventure feat key power, you can spend 1 point of key during your turn to roll a disengage check as a free action. So again, Dance of the Mantis about kind of hypermobility and being able to get away from enemies, which is interesting. Dutiful Guardian. And this one's interesting. So when you hit with it, you do a jab plus strength damage, and then one ally engaged with the target can pop free from it. So this is a way to basically help allies get away from enemies, which is useful. The flow attack. If you hit, you get to choose one of the following benefits. You can take a move action as a free action, or you gain a +4 bonus to physical defense until the start of your next turn. So kind of a beefier defense-based one, or gives you a different, a little bit more movement. And then the finishing attack does a kick plus strength damage, but naturally even hit on as a hit. Plus you can rally as a free action unless you have already rallied. And I believe rallied is a way to just get health, right? Again, I'm going to go to the index. In this, QR, rally. You might be able to regain a few hit points. It usually takes the place of an attack and usually costs one of your recovers. So yeah, rallying is basically just a way to heal. So that's basically a healing strike. Natural even miss is half damage. Natural odd miss damage equal to level. And there's a feat that you can get for it, which is when you intercept an enemy that is moving to attack one of your allies, you gain a +3 bonus to all defenses until the start of turn. So that one's kind of interesting. Original Venom is poison-based attacks. I'm going to look at one other thing. Staggered, reduced to half maximum hit points. So staggered is the bloody condition. Opening attack does jab and strength damage, and the target is staggered, so at half health or less. After the attack, it also takes 5 ongoing poison damage. So it's a poisoning attack. The flow, again, does punch plus strength, and on a natural even hit, it gives 5 ongoing poison damage. So the first one, they have to be basically below half health to get poisoned. The second one, as long as it's an even hit, they take poison damage. And then the finishing, on a natural even hit, plus 10 ongoing poison damage, and if the target has 45 hit points or fewer, it's hampered. And that hit point threshold gets higher and higher as you get to a higher level. And then a natural odd hit, it just goes 5 ongoing poison damage. Interesting. Okay. So that's a poisoning thing. 3 Cunning Tricksters, another form. This one seems really basic. When you hit, you do jab plus strength damage. Natural even miss, you do half damage. Natural odd miss, nothing. But the flow attack, when you use this attack, you can pop free from one enemy anytime during that turn as a free action. So that's interesting. And then just punch for strength damage. And then the finishing attack is a kick plus strength damage, but a natural even hit. As a hit, plus when an enemy engaged with you targets you with an attack before the start of your next turn, you can deal jab plus strength damage as an interrupt action. So that's actually pretty cool. So the opening attack is kind of boring. It just does some damage, and on a natural even miss, it does half damage, which is okay. The flow attack allows you to pop free, which is nice for a mobility aspect. But the finishing attack is really interesting, because if you get a natural even hit, you basically get to punch them again as an interrupt, which, depending on how much health they have, that might reduce them, like that might stop the attack completely. So that's really interesting. Then the final form is Way of the Metallic Dragon. And the opening attack, you have to be engaged with 2 enemies to use it. and it just is punch for strength damage. And then the flow attack has to be one enemy that has more hit points than you. You do a punch plus strength damage and 10 ongoing cold damage, or on a natural even, or a natural odd, it's punch plus strength damage and one of your allies can pop free. So that's kind of interesting. And then the finishing attack, you actually get 2 different attacks. So the first one is just a dexterity plus level versus AC. That does a kick strength damage. The second one is a punch plus strength fire damage. And then there's a key power. If you drop a non-mook enemy to 0 with a finishing attack, you can spend a key point to gain a second standard action during your next turn. That's interesting. So the interesting thing about the key powers is you don't have to take like a feat or something to gain access. As long as you take that particular maneuver, whatever they could call it, form, you have access to that key power. So with this key power, anytime you drop a non-mook enemy to 0 with a finishing attack, so it has to be the finishing attack, you can burn a key point to get 2 actions in your next turn, which means you can do an opening and a flow attack back to back, and then immediately get back to your finishing attack the turn after, which is really interesting. However, it does mean that you really need to kind of be focused on how many hit points the enemies have and kind of be aware. So that actually might be most useful. It might be most useful if you also had something that gives you either pop out ability or hyper mobility, because you need to be able to get to the enemies. Interesting. So due to the fact that I'm a dragon monk, I am going to go Way of the Metallic Dragon, which is page 75. So that's one of my groups of forms. And then the second form I'm going to think, I might take the Mantis one, because it gives me extra movement for the opening. The flow attack lets me disengage as a free action. And then the finishing attack can just increase my crit range. So I think, yeah, Dance of the Mantis. Because that will work really well with Way of the Metallic Dragon. And then I also get the key power that allows me to just burn a key point to roll a disengage check, which is nice. We'll figure out how many key points I have in just a little bit here. But I'm liking this thus far. So I've got my forms. What else do I need to do? Epic tier forms, I think, is everything other than the equipment. And again, because monks, my particular monk is not going to be using a weapon and doesn't need armor at all, I'm not actually going to get them any gear. So at first level, monks can opt to have next to nothing. No possessions, or could have 1 or 2 weapons from their school, a change of clothing or 2, or perhaps even a ranged weapon they use to hunt Skull games. Monk who have little concern for worldly things start with 25 gold. So I think, yeah, I'm going to start. I'm not going to take any equipment, and I'm just going to go 25 gold. So basically, this monk just has the clothes on their back. So yeah, interesting stuff. If we go all the way back up to the character creation overview. So we got our class. Now we need to generate our abilities. Did I miss the... Okay, so we have that. See page 309, depending for point by arrays. We're just going to do an array. So again, something that we can do. Oh, and that was the other thing I forgot to look at. Let's go back to 13 True Ways. What do you get for the monk bonuses? Feature, jab, lunge, kick, forms. So wait a minute. So monk stats. +2 strength, dexterity, or wisdom in 2 scores. So do they get both? That doesn't seem right. Hold on. Class features, jab, punch, kicks, forms. We're done with that. Oh, and I forgot you also get defense bonus with every form. Playing braces as magic items. Let's go. It's interesting. Unlike other classes, monks gain a +2 class bonus to 2 of the following 3 ability scores: strength, dex, or wisdom. So what we could do here, because I get strength or charisma here, so I could do a +2 to charisma for my racial power, and then I could do both strength and dex for my class powers, because dex is what they use to hit things, and strength is what they do for damage. And then charisma is what I'll use instead of wisdom. And that does mean that I need to have a couple different things with decent scores. So I think I'm going to look... I think I'm probably going to take 16, 16, 14, 10, 8, 8. Might be what I want, or maybe... I could go 16, 14, 14, 12, 10, 8. Because I don't really want to lowball 2 things, or I guess I could. No, I think I'm going to go 16, 14, 14, 12, 10, 8. So we're going to go dexterity is going to be 16. And then we get the +2 to that from our class. So that's going to be 18. Strength is going to get a +2 as well. So it'd normally be a 14. Now it's a 16. And then charisma is also going to be a 16. Because due to Phoenix Touched, I can use charisma for I can use charisma for my key powers and anything that normally uses wisdom instead of wisdom. And then I want Constitution 12, and then both int and wisdom are going to be that. So modifier, that's a +3, +1. +4, -1, -1, +3. And then that just turns to +4, +2, +5, 0, 0, +4. Cool. So that's easy and enough there. Did not require too much difficult stuff to figure out. I get rid of that. Really quickly, I'm going to get my key points. So my key is 1 plus normally my wisdom mod. Here it's going to be here. So I have 4 key points. I think I'm just going to, since I don't have any equipment, I'm going to just put key points. And then again, as I mentioned before, something I like to do on character sheets, is if I'm back when I used to do Adventures League stuff, I would use form fillable character sheets, I'd print them off, and then for my key points, I would just use zeros or O's. And so whenever I used my key points, I could just color them in. And then when I regain key points, I would just erase them. So super easy, super simple, and that's how I like to do things. So we've got that. Let's go back here to character creation overview. And then I need to do my combat stats. I keep forgetting to do moving on. So yeah, we did that. Now moving on. I am not doing well right now, guys. So if we go to back to the monk, my hit points are 7 plus con times 3. So con is 1, so that's 8 times the 3 should be 24. So 24. All right. And then initiative is dex mod plus level. We already have initiative right there. Armor class is a level, and the middle mod of con, dex, and whiz. This is not going to be great. Con is 4, dex is, or con is 1, dex is 4, whiz is 1. So it's going to be plus 1. So armor class is 12, 13 because you add plus level. So it's 13. I don't have a great armor class. Physical defense, strength, con, and dex, the middle. So that's going to be a plus 3. So physical defense would be 11 plus 4 because it also adds level. So 11 plus 4 is 15. Mental defense is int, whiz, and charisma. So the middle is going to be wisdom there. So that's minus 1, plus 1, so that brings us just to an 11. Super simple, easy. Recoveries is going to be 8. 1d8 times level plus con mod. So recovery roll is d8 plus 1. So my recovery roll. Talents we've already done. Feet we'll deal with in a second. So I believe that's everything I need there. Cool. Got that. Moving on. Let's go back here. So now we're supposed to do our one unique thing. So what do we want to do for this particular monk for our one unique thing? We already know we're dragon monk. It's got a cool breath weapon thing. Uses charisma instead of wisdom. What kind of cool stuff do we want to do with this monk? All right, so we're effectively a dragonborn. We punch things. I am an ancient dragon that has been cursed to live in a humanoid form until I prove myself worthy of regaining my dragon form. So, Ancient dragon that's been cursed to live in a humanoid form until I prove myself worthy of regaining my dragon form. My full dragon form. So effectively, we have this. I used to be like a full-blown ancient dragon doing all these cool dragony types of stuff, but I pissed somebody off. Probably we will define who that was when I figure out my relationships, my icon relationships. And then as kind of punishment and penance, I was forced to live in a humanoid form. In a penniless. How do you spell penniless? There we go. Okay, so I like that as being part of the punishment. So, and that's the reason why I became a monk. Ancient dragon has been cursed to live in a penniless humanoid form until I prove myself worthy of regaining my full dragon form. Basically, I pissed off someone really, really powerful, and instead of just killing me off, they're like, I'm going to teach you a lesson. And so they regress me into this humanoid dragon form, and they go, you're not allowed to own anything, you're not allowed to have money or any thing like that. So I'm even going to go as far as to go, I don't have any gold. I gave it all away. And part of that is I don't get to wear armor. I don't use weapons or anything. And so as a form of just survival, I was kind of forced to learn martial abilities because I don't have anything else. And my key is actually a representation of the immense amount of power I used to control as a dragon. So I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I think that's really, really interesting. Let's do some icon stuff. So, icons. The Great Gold Worm might be someone that would make sense. That might have given me that thing. Who else might be fun? Because I'm thinking I want a heroic icon to be the one that's kind of cursed me, because like a villainous icon, they just kill me or something like that. This is done to kind of teach me a lesson. So I'm thinking the Great Gold Worm could definitely do it. The Archmage could probably be one as well. In fact, the Archmage might be even more fun than the Great Gold Worm, simply because it could turn into something where I think of myself as significantly more powerful than I am. I piss off the Archmage and he decides, oh, I like that. Okay, so icon relationships. We are going to have Archmage to conflicted. So I have a level 2 relationship with the Archmage, but it's conflicted. And then I want one other thing. I like having a negative relationship at least once. And I think it just kind of makes sense that... Oh, this could be fun. So the 3. Again, the 3 is effectively kind of like the Tiamat of this. And so if I have a 1 conflicted... So I have a level 1 conflicted relationship with a 3, which is you mostly work against the icon, but you're also connected to the icon in a way you can't deny. Your connection sometimes gives you special knowledge or contacts, but also makes you suspect in the eyes of many right-minded would-be heroes. So let's say that I am a descendant of the 3 as opposed to the Great Gold Worm, basically chromatic dragon instead of metallic. And so I have this conflicted thing where I don't like her in any way, shape, or form. I'm not a fan of the 3, but just due to blood relations, I do have a connection. And maybe that's what got me involved in the Archmage. Oh, I think that's even better. So, I was against the 3, which is something the Archmage would probably also be against. And so I considered myself kind of an equal to the Archmage. And there was a situation where we had to team up for some reason, or I had to work with the Archmage in some, maybe not actually teaming up with him, but his troops or something. And I started kind of throwing my weight around and going, hey, listen, you got to give me more respect. I'm a direct descendant of the 3. And the fact that I'm helping you guys is a really big deal. And I just got too big for my britches, got into an argument with the Archmage. He cursed me to become a monk. I like that. I think that's cool and interesting. All right. So those are my icon relationships. Moving on. All right. What's the next thing that I got to do? We did that unique thing, icon relationships. Oh, I got to do backgrounds. Okay. So this is the other thing that is interesting. So I want to see, they had a list somewhere that I just liked using. All right, possible backgrounds. Okay, so acrobat, alchemist, animal trainer, architect, aristocrat, noble, assassin, cathedral servitor, chef, conwoman, dinosaur hunter. Year 17th, traveling martial arts pupil, tribal healer. Okay, so we have those, but also in the monk thing, it will have examples of backgrounds here. So here are a few representative monk background options. And again, backgrounds are not like, there's not a set list. These are just examples. You can make up your own as well. And it's mostly going to be how you can use them. So temple acolyte, mountain sanctuary guardsman, traveling circus acrobat, river guide, cathedral runner, spider cult assassin, tunnel vermin exterminator, bodyguard farmer, hallucinogenic mushroom farmer, wild mountain ginseng harvester, traveling tournament organizer, Drakenhall civil rights organizer, star pupil of the School of Unified Dragons. Well, so part of my background, I want former dragon as one of my backgrounds. How much do I get for backgrounds? Is it 5 points? I can never remember. 8 background points. Okay, so I've got 8 background points. So I'm definitely want... I'm going to put 3 into former dragon for right now. And then the list of them. Again, because of my one unique thing, I want something on here that's going to give me kind of a wandering aspect. So I think I'm going to go wandering. It's not really a mercenary. Wandering. No, because I don't like the idea of mercenary. Because I'm thinking, because again, I have to prove myself worthy of regaining my full dragon form, and I'm not allowed to have any money. So I'm thinking just wandering, do-gooder. Try it that way, do-gooder. Do-gilder, do-gooyer. No. We'll just do that. Wandering do-gooder. I'll give myself 2 points in that. So I still have 3 more. And specifically, like, I wander around actively trying to do things that I think will prove myself worthy. And the idea of being, specifically using the term do-gooder, is because it's going to be what I consider doing good. Which in the early levels of my character, because I was this huge, highly egotistical dragon, doing good is, in my understanding, is going to be, well, just being around people and using my dragon knowledge and stuff like that is doing good. And then as my character matures and gets closer and closer to being able to regain their dragon form, they're going to start understanding what actually doing good is. So kind of like that. The last thing that I want is, what else would be interesting for this character? I think what I might do, I'm going to put Former Dragon up to 4. Wandering Do-Gooder for 2. Yeah, I'm going to put that for 2, and then I need one more background. Hunted Outlaw, Knight Errant. Magecraft, Priest, Refugee. Kind of like the idea that I used to have. So I want something that's going to tie into my charisma a little bit. And the fact that so maybe. Let's say I am a negotiator for 2. Or actually, I think I'm going to move you back down to... No, I'll keep Former Dragon there. So negotiator, basically, one of the things that I used to do as a dragon was to kind of negotiate with people, to get more things for my horde and stuff like that. And so that's just the skill I've always had, and that's where my charisma comes from. I like this. I think that's cool. Very interesting stuff. Oh, I can put my key points in the class features. Key points, boom. And it's even better. Cool. So now I get to choose a feat. And again, they have generic feats that you can do. I'm totally going to choose a monk feat, though. So let's see what monk feats I have available to me. So I can take a key power feat, which basically I just gain an additional point of key each day, which could be very, very useful because I have lots of key-based stuff that I'd like to be able to do. What other cool feats can I have? So for Greeting Fist, the feat I take for that is once per battle, when you miss with your first melee attack against an enemy, you can use Greeting Fist against that enemy later that battle. So it could be interesting, but I don't know. Not as kind of into that. And I do have a pretty high attack thing. So let's look at Leaf on the Wind. For Adventure Feat, I get +3 bonus to disengage checks. That would be really useful to stuff that I already have. What was the other one I get? Oh, yeah, let's look at the Phoenix Touched. And Phoenix Touch would allow me to use the Imperial Phoenix flavors. Basically, I heal myself and burn someone else. I could use that twice per day instead of once per day. I think I really like the Leaf on the Wind feat. So, Leaf on the Wind. Her. So Leaf on the Wind. +3 disengage. Disengage checks. Cool. So that's simple enough. Yeah, so that's all I have to do for my feet. Moving on. What else do I have to do? Let's go here. So icon, relationship, background, first level feat, and then gear. So yeah, that's really it for this particular character. So the last thing that we need to do is final thoughts. And with designing new dragons, final thoughts always begins with us choosing a name. So this is a dragon monk. Used to be a full-on dragon. Now they aren't. And I think they're going to be a little bit embarrassed that they used to be a full-on dragon. No, because their former dragon is a big part of their background, so they use that a lot. So let's come up with a really cool dragon name. Let's go with... I like the kind of SC... Psi 10. Let's go SCI. Seitan. Seitan Core. I was the great ancient dragon Seitan Core. Fear me. So yeah. Overall, cool character. It feels good to kind of jump back into 13th Age character building. Like I said, it has been a long time since I've done this. I am still absolutely pumped with this system. I think it's really, really cool. I mentioned before in one of these videos, they're coming out with like a second edition of 13th Age, but I've not looked up any updates on it in months, so I don't know where they are. But they've been playtesting, I think, for over a year now. So it's possible that we might be getting the second edition of 13th Age sometime this year, which would be very, very cool and interesting. But yeah, so anyway, let's go back here. Hope you guys enjoyed this really cool looking monk cool shit. Yeah, like I said, 13th Age, I've been obsessed with it since I found it because it's all the good stuff from 4th edition and all the good stuff from 3rd edition. In a nice kind of interesting world that it inhabits. And I had a lot of fun creating these things. So yeah, I haven't picked what the, I haven't 100% decided upon the next thing that I'm going to be doing Discovering New Dragons on. I've got a couple ideas, so we will see. Otherwise, again, it's going to be all for me today. As always, if you enjoyed this, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to turn notifications on. All those things are super, super important. In the comments down below, what if you were to create an icon, which are basically, they don't have to be gods or anything like that, but basically just really powerful characters that are important to the world in whatever setting you want. It could be Forgotten Realms, it could be your very own setting. What icon would you create? And how would they kind of affect the world? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, again, it's all for me today. I'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.